What's good, everyone? This your main correspondent, Alan Taylor, and I'm back in the broadcast room yet again, always with another one. And yes, indeed, it is another one. So this is where we at. So this young lady has something to say about the fact that men do control marriage, which is true. Women want men to propose and things like that. And, even though nowadays, you see some chicks out here trying to propose to men, which is, crazy to me. I would never accept no dumb shit like that. That's crazy. Just is what it is. So we're going to see what she has to say. Let's go here now. Quarters, nickels, and dimes, people.
I'm going to say this real short and sweet.
Okay.
Men control marriage. Men control marriage.
Right. Okay.
So when we have the conversation of why so many Black women are single, the reason is because most Black women only want to date Black men. And the issue with that is that most Black men do not want to be married. They don't.
That's wrong. That's wrong. You know what I'm saying? That's wrong. Most Black men do want to be married. Now, the type of dudes that a lot of Black women actually deal with, the type of Black men they actually deal with in the Black community, those type of men, yeah, they're not thinking about marriage. The most of them be street cats, stuff like that, and their mentality is not on any type of family structure or anything like that. So yes, of course, if you choosing the segment of Black men that are in the streets, are doing types of egregious things, are not marriage minded, then yes, of course, it's going to seem like and the problem is most women, they date a certain type of man and then they think all men are like that. But see, the problem is that once these women actually date a certain type of man for a period of time, back to back and stuff like that, because they pick the same type dude, just he in a different body, basically. So they pick the same type of dude with the same type of mindset, but of course, is a different person. And yeah, after a certain point, you're going to be jaded. You're going to think that all men are like that, but you're not going outside your type and things like that to try a new type. And yeah, you're not going to get the results that you think you ought to get because you keep choosing the same damn thing and think it's supposed to change. That's the definition of insanity. Keep doing the same thing and think it's supposed to be a change. Makes no sense.
Value marriage. They don't value commitment.
Bullshit.
They don't value family as a collective group. So this is why most Black women are single and have never been married. However,
no, you women nowadays are a little bit too wild for marriage. You have too much of an independent mindset, and you can't be. And she wants to blame the men. Well, the men are not marriage minded, and this and that, and woo and they're not thinking about family. No, you women not thinking about family either. Else she wouldn't be running the streets like y'all do.
So what the French toast is there to think about?
What are we talking about here? What is she meaning? Listen, look, this is the point right here. So a lot of women don't even dress the part of being, in marriages and things like that. You know what I'm saying? Marriages are a conservative activity. It's not an open book. Now some people get together, things like that, but that's the minority, with the open marriages and all the other type of crazy ass crap. But anyway, though, no. And you want to sit there and try to blame the men that the men don't want to marry because there's nothing to marry. There's nothing to marry. I mean, who's gonna dedicate, 50, 60 years to somebody that, they still want to play the games and have mental issues and all types of crazy ass crap. Who's going to dedicate themselves to be locked down with a person like that? And then you want to sit here and try to talk about, the reason why a lot of these women are not being picked for marriage is because you're not pick-me's.
So what the French toast is there to think about?
You're not pick-me's. And damn it, yeah, I said it. You know what I'm saying? I know that's a huge situation on the internet, stuff like that. You got women who, oh, well, you're a pick-me. You're a pick. Yeah, she's supposed to be a wife. You're supposed to be a pick-me. You're supposed to be. That's how it works. It's always worked that way for thousands of years. You want to be a wife, you're supposed to get picked by a man that wants to dedicate his life to you and to the family and children that y'all supposed to have together and build a life. You're supposed to be a pick-me. Jesus Christ, this is crazy out here. And then you're wondering why you're not getting married because you're not pick-me's.
What I find interesting is when Black women open up their options and decide to venture outside the race, a lot of them actually get married.
And let me tell you why. It's because the most of those Black women that do go outside the race and things like that, and it's not a crazy amount of Black women that do this. Statistically, it's not. And this is just the truth. They change their tune. They leave that strong, independent, diva, whatever mindset. They leave that in the Black community when they go out to other communities to date anybody or get married. They leave that. But for some reason, when Black women decide, when Black women, get with Black men, they still want to keep that mindset, that thought process. They don't get rid of it. So you'll get rid of it for the man outside the race, which I've seen it plenty of times. They will get rid of that thought process. They will leave that in the Black community if they want to marry outside their race. They will leave that in the Black community. But then, too, when you want to marry a Black man, you want to keep that same mindset. But no, though, he's still a man. You got to get rid of that mindset for him, just like you do for the white boy.
So what the French toast is there to think about?
Or any other man of any other race. It just is what it is.
Did you hear what I just said? When Black women decide to go outside the race, she finally gets married. Let that sink in.
Oh, yeah, it sinks in very clearly. And it's very clear that you would choose to, change your attitude, change your tone, even try to work on your spiritual mindset for anybody outside your race. But you want to do that for your own Black men. But then you want to sit around here and complain, well, why Black men don't want to marry Black women en masse like how it used to be? Because y'all adopted this thought process that Black men don't like. No man likes it, but at the same time, though, too, for some magical reason, it seems that you would change that tone. You would change your mindset. You would act a whole different way with a man of another race. And then wonder why Black men don't want to marry you. This is crazy. And it's highly disrespectful that you would sit here and complain and want to know why Black men are not marrying Black women. And that's the whole issue. And we see the few Black women that do marry outside the race and stuff like that. Their whole attitude changes. Their whole demeanor changes. They walk different. They do different things. They try to actually carry themselves like a lady because they know the men of other races not going to tolerate that shit. And also, too, this is another thing, too, to the brothers out here. Yeah, we tolerate too much crap. We tolerate too much. All to deal with our sisters. And, I get it. I understand. These are our sisters. These are our women. But if they don't want to actually have any type of, love, or they don't want to change their attitudes and things like that and conduct themselves spiritually better and things like that for us, but they willing to do it for another man of another race, then shit, let them have it.
So what the French toast is there to think about?
Let them have it. But it is what it is, though. Shout out to all my subscribers. Mad love to y'all. If you're new to the channel, please hit that like, share, subscribe button. Make sure you ring that bell to be notified whenever I decide to post things. And like I always say,
and that, my friends, is the bottom line.
That, my friends, is the bottom line.